This is it. This represents the last of a generation. This is the 2002 RX7 Type R. And if the specs on this one are anything to go by, well then the RX8 has a lot to live up to.
While other sports cars during the 1980s had developed into big, heavy sports tourers, the RX7 seemed to have become more trim and taut as the years went by. When Mazda launched the first generation RX7 back in 1978, it was promoted as putting the fun back into the sports car experience. Well, just quietly, they were still making the last RX7s a lot of fun to drive. For a start, classic rear-wheel drive, and when you combine that with the power on offer, the back end needs very little encouragement to skate sideways ever so slightly on the turn. Mazda has to be congratulated for sticking with and developing the original rotary engine design, which is completely different from a conventional piston-driven motor. By the mid-90s, this very responsive and high-revving unit was developing some serious horsepower. No wonder really, it's also equipped with twin turbochargers which work sequentially, one to kick in low in the rev range and the other taking over at higher revs. All that power gets to the ground via a 5-speed manual gearbox, and I really love how you rest your left arm on the centre console to change gears. That's how low you're sitting. In front of you, the instrumentation is surrounded by carbon fibre, the most prominent gauge, the all-important rev counter.
Well, if you'd like to get into a bit of premium sports car action, thinking the superseded model is a lot cheaper than the current one, well, sit down, take a deep breath and think again.
Although the RX7 was produced right up until last year, the factory price of the car had risen so much that it crept into our luxury tax bracket, inflating the purchase price to around $90,000, forcing Mazda Australia to pull the RX7 from showrooms in 1998. These days, local Mazda rotary specialist, The Rotary Shop, imports 99 to 2002 models into the country from Japan, and while they're all pre-owned, most of them have only been driven very occasionally. This one's done a tad over 8,000 Ks in a year, and you'd have to shell out around 75 grand to park it in your garage. To find out more about how you can get your hands on a pristine example of one of Japan's most famous line of sports cars, log on to our website, drivetimetv.com.au.